Okay, so on the flushing, you ready?
Yeah, I got it.
On the flushing, then the flush test cock 4, open it, leave it flowing. While it's flowing, open flushing, close 1, open flushing, close 2, open flushing, close 3, close number 4. Connect the high side hose to test cock 2, and the low side hose to test cock 3. It really doesn't matter which hose you connect first, but it does matter which one you turn on first. All the test kit valves should be in a closed position, and they are. So open test cock 3, open the low side valve and bypass valve. Then open test cock number 2 and open it slowly. Then open high side valve. And the purpose of doing this is to get all the air out of the lines and out of the test tube. And I don't see any air coming out, so we're okay. Close high side valve. When we do, you'll see the needle go toward the upper end of the scale. When it reaches its high point, close the low side valve and bypass valve. And the reading on the gauge is setup pressure, which is your drop across number 1 check, but you can't record it now. We don't know that it's completely right until we rule out a couple of things. Which had come on about an hour ago. Now close shut off valve number 2. And now the setup's complete. We're done. We're ready for our first test. And our first test is relief valve opening points. We want to move water from supply into the zone. To do that, open your high side valve and then open the low side valve slowly. When we open it, we'll see the needle start to fall. We want it to go down slow so we can see exactly when the relief valve opens. So most people put their hand under it so they can feel it drip and so they can watch the gauge. And there it started. For all practical purposes, it's on 2. Okay. We record that on our test sheet and then close the low side valve. Okay. We're ready for our second test now, which is the number 2 check against back pressure. We want to know if number 2 check is leaking with a higher pressure on it than is in the zone. So we get that from the supply side. So open the bypass valve, and the water that flows out is coming from supply. Close the bypass valve, connect the bypass hose to test cock 4. Open test cock 4. Now the reading on the gauge is still down around relief valve opening point. We need to get that number up. To get that up, bleed your low side hose on test cock 3. When we bleed it, see the needle go up. Once it reaches its high point, close the low side hose on test cock 3, and we see we got it. It's up to around 8 or so, but we don't record that, not yet. So now close. Now open bypass valve. When we open the bypass valve, we're moving water from supply through that open high side valve, through that open bypass valve, into the discharge side. If number 2 shutoff valve was leaking, the needle would fall. But the needle is staying still, so that means number 2 check valve is holding. Okay? So we record that on our test sheet. We're ready for our third test now, which is the drop across number 1 check. To get that, we bleed water out of the zone. So we do what it seems like we've done this before, but we haven't, or it was a different purpose. Open or loosen up the fitting on low side hose, test cock 3. Bleed air out, water out, close it back, and the gauge is holding at 8.4. So we record that on our sheet, and that number has to be 3 psi higher than relief valve opening point, and it's well above that. Okay. Now we're ready for our fourth test, which is to test shutoff valve number 2. Now, if shutoff valve number 2 is leaking, water would flow back into the discharge side from supply through these open valves. So we want to know if the shutoff valve is leaking, so we need to cut that supply off. To do that, close test cock 2. When we do, if shutoff valve number 2 is leaking, the needle would fall. But it didn't fall, so that means shutoff valve number 2 is holding. We get that information, record that on our test report, shutoff valve number 2, and we're ready for our last test, which is to test the drop across number 2 check in direction of flow. Close all test kit valves. Reconnect the high side hose to test cock. Excuse me. These colors sort of confuse me. High side hose to test cock 3. Low side hose to test cock 4. Open test cock 4. Open test cock 3. Bleed low. Bleed high. Let all the air get out. Close high. Close low. And it is right on 1. Any lower and it would fail, but it's right on the middle. After we get that number, close all test cocks. Disconnect your hoses. Open shutoff valve number 2. And drain the test kit. That's it.